Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And so glad to have you along with us this first show of the new year. Happy New Year to you. We're past the holidays now. You can take a big breath. The only thing really important going on in the world right now is the national championship. But beyond that, did you watch the Rose Bowl at your house? Boy, we did. There was a lot of yelling going on, a lot of cheering. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anyway, because of a series of events, including the Rose Bowl, and a trip to the west side of the state to visit my mom, life got in the way of my plans to make it out one more time to wrap up the Michigan deer season. And as a result, I never did shoot a deer this year, which is nothing new for me. But one of my goals for the year, was to shoot a big Michigan doe, and it didn't happen. I will admit I am probably the world's worst deer hunter. I mean, come on. My deer season started here in Michigan October 1st. It ended January 1st. And during that time, I couldn't even shoot a doe? I admit it. I get it. I mean, yeah, I'm not a very good deer hunter. I think part of it is because I don't take it that seriously. I didn't hunt smart this year, but I don't think I am invested enough in modern day deer hunting to get so serious about it that I'm going to change my casual hunting habits and patterns to increase my odds of success. Boy, that was really a convoluted answer, convoluted statement, Avery. What I'm trying to say is I deer hunt because it's part of our Michigan outdoor heritage. I deer hunt because my family has deer hunted for generations. I'm not that hardcore about it. I'm not that intense about it. Not like I am bear hunting. I think I'm a pretty good bear hunter. Not like I am about turkey hunting. Well, I think I'm a pretty good turkey hunter. Or not like I am about walleye fishing. Yeah, I catch my fair share of walleye. But deer, I lost my passion for deer hunting a few years ago when all the infighting was going on here in our state regarding the mandatory antler point restrictions and the let them go, let them grow and all that stuff. And there is no doubt. If you let deer, common sense, right? If you let deer walk, a small buck walk, he's going to be a bigger buck next year. But the politics that surrounded that, the infighting that surrounded that, it just it took the edge away from my interest in deer hunting. So as a result, I still do it, and I love it when I'm out there in a stand or in a ground blind. I love it when my son James is out there and my grandkids are out there. It's wonderful. But am I passionate about it? Yeah. Am I good at it? No. I think I've proven that this year. I say I didn't hunt smart. Well, what do I mean? I mean, I hunted stands or blinds in marginal wind directions. I should have waited, some days to go in there. I should not have sat on those food plots as long as I did. I should have backed into the woods away from the food plots. I should have baited like all of our neighbors did. That would have brought some deer in. No, I'm just kidding. kind of. Hey, what do you think of the weather so far this winter? Isn't this crazy? And is it really a winter? I'm feeling real bad for the people who rely on snow and cold and ice for a big part of their income, at least here downstate. I was talking to Michigan's meteorologist, Mark Torregrossa, last night, in fact. We were talking about a couple of other things, and of course, when you talk to Mark, you have to bring up the weather. He was saying Muskegon had the warmest December ever on record, ever. Grand Rapids had the least amount of snow in December ever since records were taken. In my neck of the woods, we've had a couple of days where there's been a little bit of snow on the ground, but it's melted by 10 o'clock in the morning. There's no ice to be seen anywhere where I live. Now, I realize the forecast is calling for some cooler temperatures coming up, but I guess the question at this point here, we're in the first week of January. Is there time for Mother Nature to catch up with the winters we have these days? If I was going back to the old days when we had, real hardcore cold, snowy winters, yeah, but and I don't want to buy into the whole concept of global warming. I don't pretend to know anything about it, but I don't like the premise behind it. But honestly, when you look around, we don't have winters in Michigan like we used to. Normally, I shouldn't say normally, until the past couple of years, this time of year, I was real excited because I'd be heading down to the Archery Trade Association show, the ATA show. This is a show that for many, many years helped kick off my new year. I couldn't wait to go to the ATA show. It was fun to get down there and see, the new archery products, the new bows, the new arrows, the new quivers, the new broadheads, all the new gear, and everybody in the archery world was at these shows. Not that I was into that so much, but if you wanted to see, the big names, the Waddells, the Lee and Tiffany's, and all those people were there. Not that that's what drew me to the show, that's for sure. But the last few years, I haven't gone down to it at all, and I don't feel like I've missed a thing. It used to be at the ATA show, all the new products were unveiled, but these days, companies are starting to unveil products online weeks ahead of time. There are very few companies at this point who haven't let the cat out of the bag what they have new for the new year. I will be curious to see, though, where archery continues to evolve. In fact, coming up after the break, Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet is going to join me to talk more about that. Gear, technology, I guess it's true of all the outdoors. I mean, we'll take it over to fishing. This live scope technology that lets you see real time out to the front of the boat, for example. You can watch your bait drop through the water, and you can watch how the fish are reacting to your bait. You can watch the fish bite your bait. And I'm talking looking, 50 yards out in front of your boat. People say, that's not fair. We've gone too far. Well, some people said the same thing about cellular trail cameras. Oh, we shouldn't be able to do that. We shouldn't be able to see what's going on in the woods when we're not there. We shouldn't be able to use crossbows because they shoot so fast. We shouldn't be able to use drones to recover deer. And in Michigan, you can't, which I think is kind of a shame, because I know down in Ohio where I hunt, they can use drones to help recover animals. Now, I think any tool that helps you recover an animal is a good tool. And like any tool, it can be misused. Can a crossbow be misused? I don't know, I suppose. People used to say, oh, it's a poacher's tool. Well, no. You're not going to stick a crossbow out the window of a car in a truck in the middle of the night over a spotlight and try to shoot a deer. You would do that with a .22 mag. But nobody talks about .22 mags being poacher's tools, do they? Though I'm not going to the ATA show, I will be going down to the Ultimate Fishing Show in Detroit. I'd love to get down there and just say hi to people. What else? Coming up on the calendar here. February 21st, Wednesday, February 21st, Amy Trotter of MUCC will be joining me for the Wednesday Night Live. And then coming up Saturday, March 2nd, our big Trinity Monitor Wild Game Dinner. Looking forward to that. At the end of March, we're going to do another Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, after the break, as I say, Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet joins me to talk about archery today, gear today, what's new, what's hot, what's a good deal, what's a good value, what's not. Nick Buggia of the Michigan Wildlife Council will bring us up to date on the Here for Generations campaign. In our second hour, Jay Ball of Blue Jays Outdoors talks about steelhead fishing out of a bass boat on the Grand River. He'll talk about spearing and more. Then we'll check in with our friends from MUCC. This week's Ask Avery segment says, hey, Avery, what are the best hunts you've ever been on? I'll talk about those. In our third hour, we're talking hounds and hunting with one of the best-known houndsmen in the state. His name is Jordan Farmer. And we will wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. My name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I would love to hear from you. Do not hesitate to reach out for me. I want to hear what's on your mind. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Send me your pictures. If you have a kid in the picture in the outdoors, use the hashtag ForwardFuelsTradition, and maybe you can win a $50 gift certificate from the folks at the Forward Corporation. More Outdoor Magazine after the break. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Alpena on WZTK 105.7 FM. You can hear us in St. Joe on WSJM 94.9 FM, and you can hear us north of the bridge in Marquette, WDMJ 1320 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by, let me reach in my pocket, that company that made that sound right there. Rapid River Knives. That's the sound of my Rapid River knife locking back into position. You know I love Rapid River Knives, handmade by craftsmen in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Lifetime guarantee. If you ever need it, sharpened, if you ever need it repaired, if you ever somehow break it, Rapid River will fix it for the life of the knife. And I'm talking, not just your knife, but if you pass it down to the next generation, they'll fix it there too. Their showroom on US 2 just east of Rapid River is an absolute destination. I would encourage you to stop by there and check it out. If you can't, go to the website, rapidriverknifeworks.us. That's rapidriverknifeworks.us, and see what they have to offer. Order a knife, get it custom engraved. You'll have it at your house in, a week or so. Very, very cool. rapidriverknifeworks.us. I told you that before the break that in past years, this time of year, I'd be very excited to head down to the Archery Trade Association show, the ATA show. The ATA show used to be the place, man, if you were in the outdoor industry and you dealt with archery at all, you had to go to the ATA show. Well, things have changed a little bit. I haven't been going for the last few years and thought, well, maybe it's just whatever. But when I heard that Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet had decided he wasn't going down to, I thought, you know what, let's bring Dave on the show and talk about archery in general, because I don't know anybody who has their finger on the pulse of archery today more than the people at Bowhunter Planet, bowhunterplanet.com. Dave Thomas, one of the driving forces behind that franchise, with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Dave, welcome back. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. Listen, is it just me, or has this whole ATA thing become not a big deal anymore?
Yeah, I think it's lost its it's it used to be such a show that was all for launching, and companies would launch new bows. I remember Bowtech one year had like a couple Harleys come through. I mean, it was crazy, like some of the cool stuff they're able to do. But I think after COVID in 2020, they kind of realized that they don't need all that to still sell product. And I think what we're seeing now is that effect of that, with the outcome, which is less companies going, less money being spent at the show. all their booth space has been reduced. Every time I talk to another company, they're like, yeah, we're going smaller this year and smaller and smaller. So it keeps getting lower and lower to the size. And, again, face-to-face, it's a great thing to have, right? I mean, I totally agree with the face-to-face part. It's just that for the show part of it, where it came to media and all that, it's kind of run its course.
Well, if a company wants to unveil a new product, they can do it online through their own outlets, or they can get in touch with you guys at Bowhunter Planet. You want to reach archers, Bowhunter Planet's the way to do it.
100% agree. Yeah, that's kind of been the big change. It's the social media has changed the way that people consume new products, right? So nowadays, the companies also don't want to wait, right? I mean, waiting until January when they could start selling in November, October, they could start getting money coming in from those early, by beating their competition to the market, right? So I think that's what we're seeing 100% is just companies are realizing that, and they're starting to move their money, their advertising dollars they're wasting at the show, and putting that towards social media, all the other stuff, right? They're just starting to realize, like, hey, we're spending way too much money to go to this one show. Why not divvy that out and try to get in front of this ahead of time, especially with new products, especially these bows, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many bows are really going to launch at that show? Maybe one, maybe two.
Yeah, I don't know.
That could be many. They've all launched already.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, tell me about Bowhunter Planet. What's the concept behind this, and how did you guys bring this to fruition?
Yeah, Mike, it's one of those things where we really just wanted to build a community, if I'm being honest. It was originally started to be a forum, and then I realized that the forums were already kind of outdated at the time we started in 2009. So I've been focused on YouTube and just really pushing video content to archers, and they seemed to like it. It did very well, and then we got the companies on board, which was really the biggest, kind of balloon in the system, I guess you could say, when you get the Matthews and Hoyt and Prime and all these guys supporting us with bows and getting us bows to do videos on, and not giving us any, hey, you have to do this or that. That was the big key right there. Is they allowed us to kind of just do what we wanted with those bows. And that was a big deal because it helped consumers see those bows before, but also to drive people to archery, right? Just someone who finds that video randomly is like, oh, that looks fun. I want to try that. And that was the bigger part of it, is the heritage part.
So are you saying there's no strings attached? If a company lets you test a bow and you come out and find that it's not really up to snuff what you think it should be, are you free to say that in your reviews?
I can say that in my reviews. Most of the time I send the bow back and we don't do a review if there's something not up to speed. Because the reason I do it that way is sometimes the companies they send us the prototypes because it's early on. Mm-hmm. And so I want to make sure that is the final production piece before, we're going to say something bad about a company. But to be honest, that's very rare. There's very rarely you see anything bad in the industry nowadays. These companies are well established. These aren't like newbies or people that would have issues, Right. Most of the issues we have are simple stuff. Like, I don't really like the grip as much as I like last year's. What do you guys think about? You got to change that? Something coming, So it's more along those lines of conversation. I have very rarely had any major issues. I have had a few in the past, but nothing. And it was more on crossbows, to be fair, than it was forever on compounds.
But isn't it cool to be in a position in the industry where you actually can talk to these companies and maybe even have a say in how products are designed and brought to market?
To be honest, that's been one of the funnest things to me. Being like somebody who's an outsider but welcome to kind of speak my mind to these companies has been very cool. Like that is a cool part. I mean, honestly, growing up in archery and going to the store, Starlight Archery, I'll never forget it. Like going there with my brother when I was a kid, looking up, seeing Hoyt, Martin, Darton, all these brands, right? And then now I'll be able to make a call to Hoyt instantly on my phone is so weird. It's surreal, to be honest, in that sense. It's very odd, right? It's just odd.
You've carved out a little bit of a niche too, because, Bowhunter Planet, you might think, well, the videos we see are going to be of your guys in the field on hunts. But that's not really the direction that you guys, at least from the outside, the direction you guys are going.
Correct, yeah. Our biggest thing was we wanted to drive people to archery. And, bow hunting being the end game, of course. But our thought was if we could pull people to archery, then bow hunting's this next stage to that, right? Like, as long as you get a bow, that's the number one important part. Like, go learn archery. You don't have to go shoot a deer to learn archery and enjoy yourself and enjoy the outdoors with your family. But if you do want to take that second step into bow hunting, that's where we will do help. We do help that area, but we do it more like educational pieces. We do try to do some hunts too, don't get me wrong. But you got to remember the hunting segment is so oversaturated.
Yes.
And people do a great job at it. So I don't want to compete versus them because they're already doing a great job. I almost rather push someone to a video I like online than I would try to provide my own. Not that I won't, but it has to be a really good video. It's hard to do, as you know.
It is. It's a lot. It's a lot easier in a controlled environment in your studios there to test a bow and put it through its paces than it is to go out in the woods and try to shoot a big deer with that same bow.
Correct. And some, you got to remember too, there's other people do similar things to us, and they got land. They got huge chunks of land in Illinois and major big buck areas. So like, you're not going to be able to compete with that, so there's no point in us trying to show those Michigan bucks that are, not even close to that. And don't get me wrong, I love hunting Michigan. It's just not the same. It's not the same. It's really hard for people to see it when they see a deer like that. And Bowhunter Planet's a global, thing. It's not just in Michigan, right? It's literally, we get people from all over the world who send us messages and comment on our videos. So people see things in different ways is my point. So like someone who's hunting in Iowa sees one of our videos with a Michigan buck, they're like, what are you doing? What is that thing? It's just a whole different thing.
I got to believe, learning that you have viewers from around the world, this country, United States, has to be the hotbed of archery, and Michigan's got to be one of the top states just because we have so many bow hunters.
Yes and yes. Yeah, Michigan is pretty much one of the top 3, I would say. Well, actually, maybe top 5 total. I mean, 'cause you got Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Texas, Illinois. All those are actually very big. I would say the Midwest is the largest area of our viewership. And then you got Western hunters, obviously, who it's interesting, Mike, too, because people tend to migrate to certain brands based on where they are regionally. So, for instance, PSE is very popular out west. Prime is actually popular out west, which would be would be like, wow, that's interesting considering they're a Michigan company. Very popular, their bows out west. Hoyt, obviously. Matthews is super popular in the Midwest, and that's why you see Matthews in a lot of areas here. But this is the most buyers are here, so keep that in mind. The Midwest makes up the majority of bow hunters. It's a huge chunk of bow hunters. Pennsylvania being very large, Michigan very large. Texas is huge too. Don't get me wrong, very big.
When you look at the business, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll just say from a world perspective, I would say our viewership's probably 95% U.S.
Still pretty cool to be able to reach people, outside of this country. I'm thinking about Michigan though, from a business perspective, an archery business perspective. Michigan has always been a hot spot. I mean, going back to Fred Bear when the factory was in Grayling, and you look around here even now, there are so many Michigan-based archery-related companies. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, if anything, we've actually lost a lot of companies from Michigan these past few years. The main ones I can think of that are still here are Scentlock, Prime G5, and Darton. Those are the 3. And Darton's not really here because I think they're acquired and now they're probably headquartered in Georgia. But they do have a factory here, so we'll obviously give them that credit. But, so when you look at it from that perspective, though, we have lost a lot. Carbon Express is gone. There was a whole bunch of others, as you know, that came and gone, so Oneida, right? So there was a lot that came here, then left. And so hopefully we can, hopefully someone listening wants to start some archery stuff in the state because it is prime historical land for hunting and the industry.
Well, I'm still the G5s, the Rex, the Bonings, they're all still here. So they're around. Hey, hang tight.
I forgot about Boning.
Yeah, see, you can't forget about Boning. 3/4 of a century they've been around. They're still here. Hang tight, Dave. We got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. We're talking to Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet, bowhunterplanet.com. Plus, you can find him all over social media. You can find him on YouTube, Instagram, just every place there's video online. And you're looking for archery-related videos, Bowhunter Planet is one of the places you got to check, bowhunterplanet.com. So we'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, wrap up our conversation with Dave, and then at the end of the hour, I need to check in with Nick Buggia, the Michigan Wildlife Council, with an update on their Here for Generations campaign. That's coming up in this first hour of Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Battle Creek on WBCK, that's 95.3 FM. You can hear us in Sandusky on WMIC, that's 660 AM, 95.3 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Iron Mountain on WMIQ, 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Versa Skins. Michigan-based Versa Skins. Just change your skin for the season you're in. Why buy a bunch of different sets of hunting clothes when you can buy one good quality set that is warm, windproof, waterproof, and then snap on and zip on an outer shell of a different camouflage pattern? It's absolutely a genius concept. And if you're looking for big sizes, 4, 5, 6X, VersaSkins can help you out there as well. The website, versaskins.com. That's versaskins.com. While you are online, please check out my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com, and head on over to bowhunterplanet.com. From bowhunterplanet.com, you can get to all of their social media outlets. Dave Thomas, the guy behind Bowhunter Planet. Dave, how would you describe the state of archery today?
I think archery is pretty good right now, to be honest. I mean, we had a huge bump during COVID because people want to get outside, and we've obviously been declining a little bit since then. But I think overall, I mean, I think it's okay, but I don't know how long it'll last. You know, is it going to keep riding or is it going to keep going down? But a lot of excitement online. I've been seeing a lot of new archers interested, and I've been seeing a lot of companies launch new products. So, I mean, that's good and good, I think.
And regarding these new products, I mean, boy, you can put a lot of money into a new bow, setting it up with sights and quivers and arrows and all that stuff. Is there concern that these companies are going to price themselves out of the market?
I would say it's possible, but, you know, Matthews is always going to sell bows, you know, so I don't think that's going to happen there. I think some of the other brands who are trying to catch Matthews would probably need to figure out another plan, I think, because if you're going to price it the same, it's going to be very hard. You know, don't get me wrong, the bows are very competitive against each other, but you still have to go against the Matthews brand name, right, or Hoyt brand name, right, whatever it is. So, you know, yes, I would say there has to be some look at the pricing because I agree that there's going to be some issues there. However, companies like Bear Archery are just dominating that segment, and they're providing bows that are $500, $600, $700 that are great bows, and they come ready to hunt as well. So there's a market for sure that Bear is smart enough to grab, and I think it's doing very well for them.
And I remember we talked last year about this, and you brought up that concept. Look at the Bear Archeries and some of these other companies, and don't necessarily look at the latest high-tech expensive stuff. If you look at a previous year's model, even if you just go back to last year, the technology is still there, but the price is going to be better.
Absolutely. That's actually a great point, Mike. I'm glad you brought that up again. Because, yes, if you were to buy – so, like, a good example of this was when the Phase 4 came out from Matthews last year, the V3X, which was a great bow, people loved it, actually dropped down and was selling for, like, $1,000, which realistically is a sweet deal. So, yeah, you're right. People were able to jump on those and grab those, and they were flying off the shelf from what I heard from a couple friends at pro shops.
Is to buy an archery package, like a bow hunting package all set up with a bow, the quiver, the arrows, the sight, is that a good option for some people, or are you always better off to buy them piece by piece and put them together how you want it?
My recommendation to an archer that's going to buy, if you're a person buying a Bear archery bow that's either a ready to hunt package or a Bear bow, when I say Bear, I mean BARE, I always recommend the package. And the reason I recommend the package is because you get those pieces and you can use them. They're fine to use, no problem. Or you can keep those as backup if you decide to buy better stuff, because it's only like an additional $100 in most cases. So it's pretty low cost to get the stuff you're getting for it. So I always recommend grabbing the kit with it. But if you're going to buy a Bear because you don't want that kit, that's completely fine. I don't know, Mike. I don't know if I told you I launched the archery repair kit this past year.
No, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Repair kit. We created our Team BHP brand. We created an archery repair kit. It's basically like a band bow in the field, and they retail for around $50 for a basic kit. But it kind of does the same concept. It comes with a sight, a rest. It comes with all the basic needs you would need in the field. So it's all in a little kit. So it's small. You could put it in your backpack, put it in your truck. It's very versatile, and we created it because we had these issues in the field. We would go in the field, we'd break a D loop, we'd break a sight, and we didn't have a backup plan, and we're in a hunting situation, right? Where we need to go re-sight in. This happened at bear camp, actually, when I was there and you were there in 2015, and the guy broke his sight, and we didn't have another sight. So he actually had to hunt freehand. I mean, it's crazy. But with this kit, this is the idea we had. Let's put a cheap sight in there, cheap rest, whatever we can get in there, just a temporary Band-Aid till you get back to the pro shop, so you can finish your hunt and complete it. And so that's what happened this past year. We created 3 kits, a basic kit, a plus kit, and a pro kit, all having some, more parts in there basically. But we thought it'd be very important to launch that and have that product available to people. And it's been selling like crazy. So it's definitely doing well. People are realizing, hey, that's a good idea. It's like a first aid kit for your bow, just to have it.
Nice. And that's on the website, Bowhunter Planet?
Concept, right?
Is that on the website, Bowhunter Planet?
Yep, you can get it on bowhunterplanet.com. Yep.
Beautiful. Listen, Dave, always a pleasure. Good luck to you. Keep up the good work. I'll be following you online, and I'll look forward to talking with you again here on the Outdoor Magazine radio show.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
All right, Dave Thomas of Bowhunter Planet, again, bowhunterplanet.com. I respect what these guys have done. They're real leaders in the industry. They're really got their finger on the pulse of archery today. And, man, these guys have social media dialed in. Sometimes when I want to know how to do something different, I'll sneak over and look at the guys at Bowhunter Planet and see what they're up to. And sometimes I steal their ideas. But I think sometimes they've stole mine, too, so it's all fair. Bowhunterplanet.com. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, Nick Buggia of the Michigan Wildlife Council and the Here for Generations campaign right here in the great state of Michigan. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Caro on WKYO 1360 AM and WIDL 92.1 FM. You can hear us in Ludington on News 97.98, 98.7 WLDN, and you can hear us north of the bridge in Escanaba on WCHT 600 AM 93.5 FM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Matt Smith, Outdoors Realtor. Matt, a longtime friend of mine, a good guy. He's an expert at finding recreational properties and vacation homes, and he can help your family turn a dream into a reality. Learn more online at Matt Smith Outdoors on Facebook and on Instagram. And by the way, if you're looking for a new home as your primary residence, Matt can help you out there as well. That's Matt Smith Outdoors on Facebook and Instagram. If you've got a dream that you're looking for a hunting property, a place up north, a cabin on the lake, a lakefront home, whatever it is, Matt Smith is your guy. Matt Smith Outdoors on Facebook and on Instagram. Turning our attention now to a group that I've been working with for several years now, and I support them very much. They are the Michigan Wildlife Council, and they have come up with a campaign called Here for Generations. They are formed to let people in our state know the role of hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping, and primarily to the non-hunting and fishing and trapping population. Nick Buggia is the chairman of that group, and he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Nick, welcome back. How have you been?
Good. How have you been, Mike? Thanks for having me back.
Always a pleasure. We haven't talked for a while, and I just felt the need to reach out to you guys and see what's going on, how the campaign's going, anything new for this year, and just in general, what's up?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, we kind of had a successful end of the year. We partnered with the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy to have a mural and get out some information. Detroit, along DeQuinder Cut there, has a Harvest Fest, and they had a large turnout there, and we got a lot of information out to folks in that area, and we're really trying to focus going into next year on trying to explain the experiences available or the experiences people get being in the outdoors. To this point, it's been very sort of factual. Hey, hunters and anglers raise this much money. Hunters and anglers do this for the economy. But we're trying, millennials really like their experiences, and so we're trying to kind of capitalize on that and share with them, what's available if you just walk out your door and spend some time outside. And so we're trying to kind of come up with some messaging for that. And I can't say too much, but I think we're going to be partnering with Jays to do some messaging to hunters and anglers, and just kind of make sure they're informed and know where their money's going and what it's supporting. So we've got some exciting things, and hopefully beginning of next year we always do sort of an end of the year report, and that's kind of when our exciting numbers will come out. But that's kind of what we have going on to wrap up the year and into the next couple months.
Well, Nick, when you tell me you can't say too much, it really piques my curiosity. So now I'm going to try to figure out what's going on. But I will respect the fact that you can't say too much at this point. But you know how that works. Hey, listen, why is it important? Why do we even care about getting these people? And this is an obvious question, but I feel obligated to ask it. Why do we even care about this?
Well, hunting and fishing licenses are the majority of the conservation funding, not only in Michigan, but across the country for both game and non-game species. And so it's important that we have hunters and anglers, that hunters and anglers are able to, continue to enjoy their pursuits. And because that's, without them, we lose out on conservation funding, which is important to everyone.
Personally, I know you're a hardcore outdoorsman. How did your season go? How did your fall go?
It went well. I spent a lot of time in the woods, which I enjoyed. I didn't harvest the deer this year, but got to sit in the deer blind quite a bit. Got to see a lot of deer. Just didn't have the opportunity to pull the trigger, and was out grouse and woodcock hunting quite a bit. And I have a new, a pup that's about a year and a half, and so it was kind of his first season. So got him on some birds, and I'm looking forward. I was calling a buddy the other day and said, we should try to go out and do some rabbit hunting before March. So I'm still trying to prolong it.
Oh, I hear you there. See, I know as a lowly outdoor radio guy that I wasn't guaranteed a deer this year and didn't get one. But I figured you, as the chairman of the Michigan Wildlife Council, had this thing locked in.
It's still hunting for me too.
All right, Nick. Listen, always a pleasure. I'll look forward to talking again soon. And man, I'm gonna start to work the edges of this whole Michigan Wildlife Council Jay Sporting Goods deal. I am.
I'll tell you, it is exciting, and hopefully we'll have something to announce soon.
All right, Nick, I'll look forward to that. Nick Buggia of the Michigan Wildlife Council, the website here for MIOutdoors.org, here for MIOutdoors.org. The campaign is called Here for Generations. And listen, this outdoor lifestyle has been here for generations in Michigan. We need to work to continue that it's here for future generations. I think we need to do this as individuals. We need to do this as the groups that we are part of, and we need to do it in supporting groups like the Michigan Wildlife Council and their Here for Generations campaign. We'll take a break for the top of the hour. When we come back in hour number 2, I'm going to talk with a guy that I have followed online for a long time but never met in person. His name is Jay Ball of Blue Jays Outdoors, and then Steve Windom of MUCC coming up in hour 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. I know you don't care if it's a radio show or a podcast. I do, though, and this is the Outdoor Magazine radio show is just that. It is produced, recorded, syndicated, distributed as a radio show. And I believe the best way to listen to this show, if you can, is on your local radio station, your local AM or FM radio station. If you can't, if your local station doesn't carry all 3 hours of the show, or if you live in some part of our state not covered by the broadcast signal, it is nice to know that there is a podcast version of the Outdoor Magazine radio show available. Where do you hear that? You can hear that on my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. You can hear it on my Facebook page, on Amazon Music, Audible, Twitter, now called X, LinkedIn, Apple Music, Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Player FM, Deezer, Odyssey, among other places, and even YouTube. Yeah, I put a version of the radio show, the podcast version of the radio show, up on YouTube. Now, I do like podcasting. I think it's a great way to reach people, and I do podcasts each month for some of my advertising partners, including Offshore Tackle, Primal Outdoors, and Angler Quest Boats. In fact, when we're done here in the studio, we're going to record this month's Offshore Tackle podcast. My most popular podcast we do, aside from the radio show, is the Offshore podcast. So keep an ear out for that. You can hear that at offshoretackle.com, offshoretackle.com. Talking about all these different ways to reach people, though, social media and YouTube and stuff. My guest right now is a guy I've never met in person, but I have followed him online and been fascinated with the types of things he posts. He's an avid Michigan outdoorsman. His name is Jay Ball. You can find him online as Blue Jays Outdoors on Instagram, YouTube, I think even Facebook. And he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Hey, Jay, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Mike, I appreciate it. I'm actually doing really well. Apologize for a little bit of raspy voice, but the sinus infection, cold flu season is well upon us.
Oh, man. I hope you get feeling better, because it seems like everybody I talk to right now is sick or just getting over being sick.
Yeah.
Is it all those days?
I appreciate it.
Is it all those days on the Grand fishing steelhead that caught up with you?
No, that's what keeps you healthy. That cold, fresh air,
Listen, tell our listeners, tell me a little bit about you. How did you get to this point of where you are today?
Oh, man, that's actually a really good question. I actually just started to post some of this stuff on Instagram because there's been quite a few new followers to the Blue Jays Outdoors community. So I guess I can start. Born and raised in Michigan. I grew up in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And some of my earliest memories, like most of us that are in the outdoors, is, fishing for panfish, on the dock. And kind of as I got older, this, I'll call it an obsession, I guess it's a healthy obsession, really started to take a hold of my life when it comes to fishing and hunting and being in the outdoors. And, speaking of the Grand River, I've actually been fishing that river for 30 years now for steelhead. Kind of makes me feel a little bit old. But, spent most of my years all the way through college, fishing for salmon and steelhead and fishing all the Great Lakes. And then I moved to Virginia, actually, when I was 21 years old and started working for the company I work for now. And then I got obsessed with tuna fishing, bill fishing, chasing after sailfish and blue marlin, got into speckled trout fishing. Been very, very fortunate and blessed to travel all around the U.S. with my job and do some fishing excursions. And then moved back to Michigan probably about 6 or 8 years ago and really became interested in bass fishing. And then there's always been this obsession with steelhead fishing. And I know I have a bass boat, and it's not very common to see people fishing for steelhead and bass boats, especially in the wintertime, trolling for them. And I've just over the last couple of years really fell into a groove and have gotten really comfortable chasing after those fish this time of year, because unfortunately, we all know, there's no safe ice, which is another passion of mine. So no ice fishing yet this year, unfortunately. Maybe.
Well, and it's the steelhead action on the Grand that really got my attention. I grew up on the west side of the state, just north of the Grand River. Used to fish the Rogue with my dad, used to fish the Grand a little bit. But this whole concept of fishing the Grand, it can be an urban fishery, it can be downtown Grand Rapids. The fishing is great. Mm-hmm. And you're fishing them out of a bass boat and doing pretty darn good.
Yeah, I get a lot of looks. I don't know if it's the bass boat or all the pink that I wear. I stand out pretty easily on that river.
And I'm going to ask you about that pink here before our conversation is over too. But the Grand is a tremendous fishery, not just for steelhead, but for a lot of things, isn't it?
Oh yeah, actually, one thing that I do every year is I go down in the summer when the water's really low, and I just see, what trees have moved, what brush piles are in the way, because that's one of the things that people ask me all the time is, Jay, how do you get that boat upriver? Well, I've been fishing that river for 30 years, and I know the river channel fairly well, but with the modern electronics that are available, I can map out that river bottom and really know where the channel is. But in the summertime, I go down there and fish for smallmouth and northern pike, and it is honestly, in my opinion, one of the most untapped resources for smallmouth fishing, especially topwater. It's an amazing fishery. I take my father-in-law down there in the summertime, and we absolutely just have a blast. And they're nothing really big. He did catch one that was 19 and a half inches. He caught his PB smallmouth this year with us salmon fishing. But it really is a great fishery. It's good for walleye. It's good for salmon. It's good for steelhead. I even think, Mike, someone mentioned that someone had caught a muskie out of there.
Oh, really?
I can't confirm that, but I've heard that from several people actually.
So are you targeting steelhead downtown? Are you upstream, downstream? I'm not looking for your honey hole, but in general, where are you at?
So I don't fish, the quote unquote concrete jungle downtown, like where I jump the Crawfords. I used to when I was younger with my father. We take his John boat up those Crawfords. But for me, I do all my fishing from basically the 96 bridge down to like Johnson Park area. There's a ton of great fishing. There's very few boats that fish down there. There's a ton of fish up by the dam, but there's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And, I just like to, kind of do my own thing and go a little bit rogue. So I fish downstream, and there's a lot of great water. I think it's actually overlooked. But that's where my comfort area is. And I've actually been going back to older places where I used to fish when I was younger that we kind of got away from because we found new holes. But I'm going back to these older locations and actually finding bigger fish in those spots that not a lot of people fish or target.
So is that season done for you now? Or are you still targeting steelies and the Grand?
Typically this time of year it is. My biggest concern why I stop is the boat ramps. Having a 21-foot bass boat, the ramps on the river are not designed for these big boats. And once they start to get a little bit icy, if you follow practices where you let your boat drain at the bottom of the ramp and don't drag water up so it freezes, that does help. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that. Typically this time of year I'm in full ice fishing mode, but because of the mild winter we've had and the water depths have been really good on the Grand, I'm going to go this weekend actually, and I'm going to try to go a few more times until those ramps really start to freeze over. Then I just won't do it anymore.
And it looks to me, and looking at your videos, you're trolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know there's a lot of guys that fish for steelhead with spawn and with beads and with flies, and it's really fun. I've actually done a little bit of that growing up, but Mike, I'm going to be honest with you, there's just something about the way a steelhead hits a plug, whether it's a Hottentot or some other sort of crankbait. It's just, I've got chills thinking about it. It is a true obsession that I can't get over it.
you and I can relate to that. You mentioned good old fashioned Hottentots, man. How many different fish, how many different species of fish have been caught on Hottentots over the years?
Oh my gosh, even, not just salmon or steelhead, but walleye, bass fishing. Bass fishing is a lot of the older school guys, using wiggle worm especially. Mm-hmm. Anything from the old storm, the storm days. It's just been it's a great bait. I know there's a couple different manufacturers of different, crankbaits that are used for, salmon and steelhead, especially on the West Coast. And I try to fish those, honestly. I try to diversify. I try to use different colors and different baits because they have different hunting action. But Mike, I just can't get away from those Hottentots. I really can't.
I've still got them in my box for walleye, and we throw them out once in a while, and they catch fish every trip. Jay, we got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. Before we go, though, do you even have a website, or is our websites old school these days? You're just concentrating on social media?
Yeah, just social media for the time being. This year, I'm trying to look at expanding the Blue Jays Outdoors community because I really started all my social media channels on trying to help people catch more and bigger fish. I love teaching and knowledge sharing. So right now I'm just active, like you mentioned, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook mostly. But I do plan on having, some sort of website in the future where you can go to get, updated tips and tricks and get links to all my different social media channels, because it's really what it's all about. It's just trying to help people catch more and bigger fish and learn from my mistakes.
We've all made a lot of mistakes. Hang tight, Jay. We got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. We're talking with Jay Ball, Blue Jays Outdoors. As he says, you can find him on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. He really got my attention when he was trolling for steelhead on the Grand River out of a bass boat. But when we come back, I want to talk with Jay about another of his passions, and that is spearing. Now, are we going to be on the ice this year to go spearing or not? That's a big question, but we can talk about that and more with Jay Ball of Blue Jays Outdoors after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show. Sorry about that. We had a little glitch here in the studio. Tried a different mic input. We went back to the old one. I think we better stick with the old one, Charlie. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Sheboygan on Big Country Gold, WCBY. That's 1240 AM, 100.7 FM. You can hear us in Flint on Sports Extra, 1330 WTRX. And you can hear us north of the bridge in the Sioux on News Talk 1400 WKNW. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Premier Maritime Training. If you've ever wanted to get your captain's license, I think this is your best bet. Captain John Littlefield taught my captain's class, and he can help you become a licensed charter captain as well. Check out the website, pmtcaptains.com. That's pmtcaptains.com for more info. John has classes across the state, a variety of schedules, a variety of places, a variety of times, and I'm sure you can find one that will fit your schedule. That's pmtcaptains.com. We're talking now with Jay Ball of Blue Jays Outdoors. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. He is a guy who is trying to reach as many people as possible in sharing his fishing adventures and teaching others how to become better anglers. Jay, is that a pretty good description of what you're all about? We lose. Okay. Oh, there we go. Jay, is that a pretty good description of what you're all about?
I just got you back. So.
Yeah, we had a little technical glitches here.
Cut out.
What I was saying is, you are active on social media. You are sharing your fishing adventures and in an attempt to help people enjoy their adventures and become better anglers. Is that a pretty accurate description?
Yeah. It's really about knowledge sharing. I mean, I obviously, I don't know that really much about, bass fishing and all that kind of stuff, but I really want to give people, an inside look to someone who's newer to, like let's say bass fishing, because that's primarily most of my content. But, just think outside of the box. I know we're going to talk about the whole pink thing too in a little bit, but think outside of the box and go against the grain, kind of, cut your own path and don't maybe follow the crowd, because you can be pretty surprised at some of the catches and some of the fish you can catch, by maybe not doing things that everybody else does.
Well, let's talk about pink here for a minute. I mean, that kind of become your signature color. I was involved a few years ago in a breast cancer awareness campaign, and pink was their, main color there. Is that what this is about for you, or is it something else?
It's definitely to help support that, and bring awareness to it. But it really started probably about 4 or 5 years ago when I started fishing Saginaw Bay for largemouth bass. And, Saginaw Bay is another great fishery, mostly known for the walleye, obviously. Fished multiple walleye tournaments out there over the years, but then also smallmouth bass. But I think it's a hidden gem as a largemouth bass fishery. And when I first started fishing over there, I was fishing mostly the canals, mostly the reeds. And I started using pink. I actually started dyeing some of my own bladed jigs pink, just because I can see that color really well in the water. Some people can see different colors, can and can't see different colors, but I really can see pink, and it stands out. And I started to notice that it was drawing more bites than other colors. And I actually took a couple of my friends out, and one of my good buddies, Dylan, grew up from Extreme Outdoorsman. The very first time him and I fished together, we were fishing a canal, and he'll forget more about bass fishing than I'll ever know. And he was using his go-to colors and baits, and I was just throwing a pink bladed jig. And I think after about the 10th bass that I caught, I just put a bladed jig on the deck of the boat, and I said, "Here you go, Dylan. You can use it when you want to." And as soon as he picked it up, he started catching fish. And it just slowly progressed into throwing pink frogs, pink flukes, pink topwater. And it's really funny, Mike, because a lot of people tell me that bass can't see pink or fish can't see pink. I know there's been a lot of research done, but last time I talked to a fish, they didn't tell me either way what they could or couldn't see color-wise. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I do get a lot of negativity, kind of funny, but I get a lot of negativity because people are like, "Oh, bass can't see pink," and it's just something. But I can see it really well. So because I can see it really well, it's just kind of exploded, and now I have pink hooded sweatshirts and pink face masks and hats, and yeah, it's kind of become my thing. So I guess people call me the pink guy.
Well, you can't hide when you're on the water or on the ice, that's for sure.
No. No, especially like I said on the Grand when I'm steelhead fishing, I got this pink hoodie with this, pink Bass Pro Shop hat on. I stand out like a sore thumb, but it's fine. People come over and say hi. I'm always really excited to meet people that support the channel, and it's really nice to meet people that have been following along with my adventures.
Well, and blending in is not what you're all about. You want to stand out. You want people to see you. You want people to reach out. So I get it. I get that completely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about ice fishing and spearing. I have been fascinated with spearing ever since I was a kid, growing up on the west side of the state. I don't do it these days, but I'm fascinated by it. I've seen some of your videos. I know when you can. That's one of your passions as well.
Yeah, it actually started a couple of years ago. Again, my good friend Dylan grew up from Extreme Outdoors, and then him and I have become very good friends over the last couple of years through social media. And him and his father have spearfished for a long time. Dylan's been doing it since he was a little kid. And a couple of years ago, he got an invitation to go up to Saginaw Bay and start, spearing. And he really became passionate about it. And then I went with them a couple of years ago and speared my first pike, and the rest is history. It is it's almost like combining bow hunting with fishing. And Mike, spearfishing gets a lot of publicity, whether it's good or bad, on social media, especially with underwater spearfishing or spearfishing. And I tend to have to remind people that this technique for taking fish has been around since the dawn of man. Like, this is how we used to catch fish before modern, hook and line and tackle was designed.
What do you mean it's a cross between bow hunting and fishing? What do you mean by that?
So it's the adrenaline rush, right? I used to do a lot of bow hunting when I was younger, and you see these pike come cruising through the hole, and they're looking at the decoys, which we can talk about those as well. And they can see, right? I've always been taught as a child, if you can see the fish can see you, especially trout fishing. Fishing smaller trout streams, but you have to be very methodical. You can't move really fast. You can't make a ton of noise because sound travels very, very quickly through water. So you get this adrenaline rush because all of a sudden you see this head pop through the hole, and you're looking at it thinking, okay, is it big enough? And really, that's a big question I get, is how do you know if they're legal size? Because they still have to be with that 24-inch size limit. If you have to guess, don't take the shot.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I tell people that are looking to getting into it. If it looks small, it probably is small. So there's that adrenaline rush. I mean, you're literally shaking, and you're trying to slide the spear in the water because you don't want to throw it when it's up in the air. You want to get the spear down in the water, and then it's just kind of a guess as far as like how deep you get the spear, and then you got to throw it. And literally the first pike that I speared, I still remember like it's yesterday, I was shaking, just like when you shoot a big deer when you're bow hunting. It's the same sort of buck fever, I guess.
So do you use a pink decoy for spearing?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
I do. So Wallace decoys, or the decoys that my friend Dylan uses, and he had a pink, I think it's like a pink, almost kind of a perch profile, maybe a shad profile, and he had it as a standard color. I didn't even have to ask for it. So, again, whether pike can see pink or not, really all the decoys are doing is causing some sort of disturbance in the water, and pike are curious, right? They're cruising through, they're seeing something moving and flashing in the water, they go to check it out, because, even though the water's cold, their metabolism is actually still pretty active. So they still do actively feed throughout the winter. Obviously, that's why we catch them on tip-ups and we can catch them jigging. But it's really just curiosity. Those pike come through. We have had times where the pike actually hit the decoys. But they'll come in, fire in on that decoy, they'll hit it, and they'll be gone before you can even get your spear up. I mean, it can happen so fast, just like with deer hunting. It's the exact same kind of scenario sometimes.
Yeah, I love the spearing videos. It's like watching an underwater world in real time in the middle of the winter when maybe there's not much else going on. This year, I don't know, Jay, if we're going to get a chance to enjoy that or not.
Mike, it's this is how it goes, right? You get all the equipment, you get all jacked up about it, you buy everything, you're ready to go, and the season comes, or no, it doesn't come, right? So we're all ready, right? I mean, we've got the shanties, we've got the GoPro setups, we've got the decoys, we have everything. We just need the ice. And really where we focus early season, just for the listeners to kind of get an idea if they are interested in getting into pike spearing, some of the earliest places to freeze are the canals in the Great Lakes, whether it's in Lake St. Clair or in Saginaw Bay, because people always ask, hey, where are you guys spearfishing? I basically tell them, pick a marina in Saginaw Bay and start there, because there's pike that cruise in and out of those marinas all year long. Because like you've seen a lot of the on a lot of Facebook posts, a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of people are still pan fishing in the canals, and a lot of those pike are in those canals eating those panfish and those small bait fish this time of year.
Oh, that makes sense. Absolutely. Well, Jay, I enjoy watching your content. I respect what you're doing. I think it's cool that in today's world, social media and YouTube and stuff, when I first started and I wanted to produce videos and reach people, I had one option, and it was broadcast TV. Mm-hmm. And that was a different world. So, and it was so hard to get into, and it was very restrictive, and I just happened to be lucky and blessed, and I was able to do it. These days, with what you're doing, anybody can do it. Not a lot of people do it as well as you do, but I think what you're doing is very cool, fascinating. I congratulate you. I will continue to follow you, and I look forward to the day when you and I can actually meet in person.
Yeah, you as well. Like I said, I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the support. I always try to reach out to everybody and get back to everyone's comments and try to ask questions. And again, it's all about knowledge sharing. But if you're actually going to be at the Ultimate Fishing Show this year, even though it's an ice fishing show, we might not have ice. It should be a busy show because no one's going to be ice fishing. Yeah,
true. Are you going to be down there?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get down there at least 1 or 2 days. Not sure exactly what dates yet, but definitely will be attending the show just to see all the local companies, local vendors. I'm a really big supporter of small business. Over the last couple of years, I've been trying to just support, buy more local baits, soft plastics and hard plastics. Again, just to kind of support the small business.
Hey, I'm all in favor of that. And I got to let you go because I'm out of time. That's one of the problems with broadcast radio is we have a very strict clock. Jay Ball of Blue Jays Outdoors. You can find him on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Check him out. He does a great job. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, Steve Windom of MUCC checks in. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Houghton Lake on 98.5 WUPS. You can hear us in Port Huron, WPHM 1380 AM, and north of the bridge in Newberry, WNBY 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Killer Food Plots. Well, season's over now. Time to start thinking about next season. And the food plots that you're going to put in or improve or modify or change in whatever way, Michigan-based family-owned Killer Food Plots can help you out with that. Company owner Rich Krazan is ready to go. He's ready to rock. Give him a call. Go to his website, killerfoodplots.com. That's killerfoodplots.com, and get a jump on the next food plot planting season and the next hunting season in general. killerfoodplots.com. I want to check in now with our friends from MUCC, Michigan United Conservation Clubs. I love to check in with those folks every couple of weeks. This time around, Steve Windom has drawn the short straw, and he's with us on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Steve, welcome back. How are you?
Doing good, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good. It's going to be, we're through the holidays now. It's going to get to be a busy time of year for you folks there at MUCC.
Yeah, we've got lots going on, from everything from camp registration opening up here in early March. We've got our convention up in the Sioux. We're going to Sault Ste. Marie this year for our annual convention to set our policy. We know there's lots going on in the legislature. We had a new NRC appointment at the end of the year. So we have lots of things to tune into. We need lots of people to join up and help us strengthen our voice.
Well, you guys don't let any grass grow under your feet at all. The show season, the outdoor show season, I think you guys like to have a presence as those shows as well. Will you be at the Ultimate Fishing Show in Detroit, or are you waiting for Outdoorama?
Oh, we'll be at them all. We're actually adding a new show to our calendar this year as well. So we're going to be at We're going to be at the Ultimate Fishing Show. So stop by and see us there. It's actually in less than 2 weeks now. Mm-hmm. We'll be at Outdoorama. But also before Outdoorama, we're going to be at the Kalamazoo Outdoor Sports Expo as a first-time event for us. And then we will also be at the Grand Rapids Ultimate Sports Show again. So we're making our show season rounds again, hoping everybody can come out. We've got some free tickets and some buy one, get one free passes. So if you're a member, please reach out, and we'll hook you up with some passes, hopefully.
Well, and the reason for doing this, is just to get in front of people, remind folks that you're out there, and actually talk with some of your members?
Yeah, we have a show special for membership pricing, so we've got some good discounts going on. We sell our merchandise, but really it's getting our mission out there to help people understand that we unite citizens to conserve, protect, and enhance our natural resources and outdoor heritage. So if you're at a fishing show, if you're at a hunting show, if you're at any of these outdoor shows, you need to stop by MUCC's booth, understand the power of our work, the impact we're able to have, and how we are fighting to protect our right to hunt, fish, trap, and shoot and recreate here in Michigan.
One of the projects you folks get involved in is OTG, on the ground. I think, did you mention there's some OTG stuff coming up as well, or no?
Yeah, we actually have 2 events here in January. So if you're looking to get outside and get hands-on with conservation, check out OTG or On the Ground, MUCC.org. You can find the OTG landing page there. We have nearly 25 events planned for the calendar year, with a few more coming on too. We also have our OTG Junior program, which is looking for schools in the springtime to do field trips with young people. So whether you get out there and join us on public land, or you want to get your classroom or your school involved at an elementary or high school level, we got lots of ways to have people get hands-on with conservation.
OTG Junior. I love the concept of getting kids involved. In fact, your camp is a big push to do that same thing.
Oh yeah, it's it's conservation through education out at our camp. So out in Chelsea, Michigan, in the Waterloo State Rec area, we're going to be running a full season of camp this year. We're going to be back to, I believe it's 6 or 7 weeks of overnight camp with 2 weeks of day camp. So since the pandemic, we had to switch that up a little bit, but we're running a full season. We're back out there. We did over 225 kids last year. We're looking at over 300 kids this year. There's scholarships available for veterans, first responders, active duty military, urban children as well. Camp registration opens March 1st. So if you want to think about getting kids out to camp this year and have them fall in love and start their own outdoor heritage, it's a great place to do it.
And when did you say the convention's coming up?
Convention is going to be March 8th, 9th, and 10th. So that is where our voice, our members, every single member of MUCC has a voice to set our critical policy agenda for the year. So we want to invite every single one of our members, even if you're a new member, not a member yet, get joined up. If you have a conservation or natural resources issue that you're dealing with in your area, you want to bring it to convention, you got to be a member. You can vote. You can come to the Sioux with us. Get integrated to all the great policy work and learn how MUCC really drives forward Michigan conservation.
Didn't that convention used to be in the summertime?
It did. We did have a June. We used to have a June convention, but, we're trying to deal with summer vacations and birthdays and holidays. We're getting it here in the spring now so that we can have a full year to work on those policies as well. We know that policy takes a little bit of time to build relationships and get the work done. So as a nonpartisan organization, we've got to be able to make relationships, get our policy agenda set, and get to work for our members.
And I know one of the goals for this year is to push membership, to boost the membership numbers. Why is that important, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, our voice is only as strong as our membership. And so, we represent over 40,000 hunters, anglers, and trappers. But my goal is to get that up over 100, 200,000. We know that there's over 600,000 just deer license holders here in the state of Michigan. Fishing licenses on top of that as well. It's an $11 billion industry for hunting and fishing here in Michigan. We need everyone who partakes in that to be part of our mission to make sure that we don't lose our right to hunt, fish, or trap, that we protect our outdoor heritage, we protect our wild places, and we keep Michigan the pristine wonderland that it is.
And real quick, before we let you go, how much and how do we do that?
Definitely. MUCC.org. You can get a 1-year membership for $35, a 2-year membership for $60, so you're saving some money there. Or if you're a real conservationist and you want to make an ultimate commitment to conservation, you can join as a life member. That's $1,000, but you'll never have to pay again. You'll always get the magazine, and you'll be invited to all of our special life member events as well.
Steve Windom of MUCC, appreciate your time. Keep up the good work. The website, MUCC.org. That's MUCC.org. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, we'll wrap up this second hour of the show with this week's Ask Avery segment, coming up after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Houghton Lake on the Twister, 92.1 WTWS. You can hear us in Holland on WHTC, that's 1450 AM, 99.7 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Manistee on WTIQ, 1490 AM, 95.3 FM. The Ask Avery segment is brought to you each week by the good folks at Security Credit Union. Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoors men and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. The way the Ask Avery segment works, this is your chance to get involved in the content of the show. You can send me a question. The best way to get those questions to me, by the way, is an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. You can pose a question that you would like me to answer directly, or you can send a question to me that you want me to pass along to somebody at MUCC or DNR, or somebody that maybe I can reach more easily than you can. This week's question actually is something that's been posed to me several times before by different people, and I think the timing on it is pretty good this week. And the timing is, because I just finished deer hunting here in Michigan from October 1st to January 1st and wasn't able to shoot a deer, wasn't even able to take a doe, it makes me realize just what a bad hunter I am. just how bad I suck. But I have had some good hunts in the past, and I've had a lot of people ask me, Avery, over the years, during the television show and whatever, what was the best hunt that you ever had? I think that's a good question. It's an interesting question. Let me just walk through some of them here. For deer hunting, and I used to be much more serious about deer hunting than I am now. One of the best whitetail hunts I ever had was in Kansas, where I was able to take a 150-inch buck on camera. That was very, very cool. Another really good whitetail hunt I had was also in Kansas when I had a big drop tine buck come into a blind during a windstorm, and I wasn't able to get a shot because as he was coming in at the last minute, we had a big, big gust of wind that almost blew the blind over, but it made the sides of the blind flap, and it spooked that big old buck just enough where he would not come in. I think overall my most beautiful whitetail hunts had to be in Alberta because we were up there in the foothills of the Rockies. There were moose there, there were elk there, there were bears there, there were wild horses there, there were whitetails there. The scenery was just beautiful, and we got a lot of close encounters with some very big bucks. But I think my absolute best whitetail hunt ever was here in Michigan. I didn't even have a gun or bow in my hand. I was sitting behind a camera, and I watched my then, 10-year-old grandson Trent shoot his first deer on camera. It was a little Michigan spike, And I'm glad that it was dark when we recovered the animal because it was so emotional. I'll be honest, I had tears in my eyes to watch that kid take his first animal. So that was my absolute best whitetail hunt. Bear hunts, I don't know, I think every bear hunt to me is absolutely special. Probably the best one I ever had was when I was able to take a bear with my recurve a few years ago. This was up in Ontario. Made a beautiful shot. Hit the animal perfectly. It was a big sow. I mean, I watched her drop, and it was so rewarding to spend so much time behind that bow, shooting the bow, trying to become proficient, and to be able to watch the efficiency, the effectiveness of traditional tackle, archery tackle, was just wonderful. Turkey hunts, again, I think every turkey hunt is wonderful. Every time I hear a bird gobble, it makes my heart race. The most rewarding hunt probably, again, was with a recurve. I took a big bird with a recurve. This was back before we had the longer seasons. I think my season was 9 days or 11 days. I hunted every day of that season. I missed several birds with my recurve before I was finally able to connect the last night of the season after hunting, 9 straight days, 11 straight days or whatever. I was able to put a nice shot on a big long beard. That was wonderful. Overall, I don't know, my wolf hunt in Ontario was challenging. Took me 2 trips up there, 140 below temperatures to finally shoot an animal. That was pretty cool. Africa, going to Africa, seeing the exotic animals there, sitting over a water hole in a ground blind. And the first time a giraffe or a zebra walked in, I said, I'm not in Michigan anymore. And just the majesty, the beauty of that, the uniqueness of the animals, knowing I was in Africa. Oh, that was hard to beat. But also, for the best overall experience, it wasn't necessarily a hunting trip, but it was more of a fishing trip. Alaska. Alaska is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to live there, but to visit there, the most spectacular scenery I've ever seen, the Kodiak, the mountains, the wildlife, the fishing there. It was just world class. Overall, I've been blessed to have some pretty cool experiences. So if I didn't shoot a doe here during this season the past year in Michigan, it's okay. I've been blessed with some pretty cool experiences. Thank you, Security Credit Union, for making each week's Ask Avery segment possible. If you have a question for me, send it to me in an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. That's mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. We'll take a break for the top of the hour. When we come back, we'll finish up the show with our third hour, talking with houndsman Jordan Farmer and wild game chef Dixie Dave Minar in hour 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. So glad to have you along with us. This is the first show of the new year. How cool is that? The new year, 2024. What does that mean? Well, it's going to mean different things to different people. Did you make New Year resolutions? Did you set goals for yourself this year in the outdoors? I did. I talked about them a little bit last week. Here in Michigan, we are so blessed. There are so many different outdoor recreational opportunities to take advantage of. I firmly believe this is one of the best states to live in the country. I've spent my whole life here. I've had a chance to visit many other places. They're fun to go to, but would I want to live there? No. I want to live here in Michigan. so many different types of wildlife, so much different scenery, so many different things to hunt, so many different things to fish. I just think this is a great place to live. Different seasons to take advantage of, right? That's always cool. This year, though, those seasons are a little screwy so far. Not much of a winter as we are sitting here in the studio yet at this point. And the question is, what kind of a winter are we going to get? But when I think about the different things to take advantage of here in this state, one of the things I'm fascinated by, I've never really done it, but I'm fascinated by the houndsman. Now, as a kid, I did hunt birds, upland birds and pheasants and stuff over English setters. Of course, I've hunted rabbits over beagles. Everybody has. I haven't bear hunted over hounds. I have not coyote hunted over hounds. I have not bobcat hunted over hounds. But as I say, I'm fascinated by it. I'm also fascinated by the people who are so passionate about it and so good at it. Jordan Farmer is one of those guys. I've had him here on the show before, and it just seemed like a good time to bring him back, and he has graciously agreed to give us a few minutes this week. Jordan, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hey, Mike. Good. How are you?
Good. Listen, last time we talked, I think it was the last time, you had just unfortunately had a very close encounter with a wolf in the UP. In fact, I think you lost one of your dogs, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, I think that was the last time I was on. Yep.
Hopefully, no stories like that this year.
No, not yet. There's a ton of them around, man. It's horrible. It's horrible up here right now. It's tough to hunt.
When you lost that dog last year, what was that a bobcat hunt? Was that a bear hunt? What was that?
Last year, yeah. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before.
Year before, okay.
Maybe it was last year. Yeah, I can't remember now, but yeah, we were bobcat hunting. Yep, that's when we lost her. We were bobcat hunting.
So are you still running dogs on cats?
Oh yeah, yep.
Tell me about that, because I have a frame of reference for running them, bears or coyotes, but the cats, I can't quite picture this. Cats are their own breed, right? Cats are cats, no matter what they are.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely are, for sure. They're a different animal.
So how do you run dogs for them?
Well, you hope for a good fresh snow and go out and either cut tracks on the roads or some guys out carcasses and stuff. But usually, yeah, just checking roads and finding a good track, and then hopefully you don't have any wolves around if you're hunting in the UP going into that same section, and you just put a couple of dogs down, and the dogs will trail the cat for who knows how long. You never know. Could be all day or it could be 10 minutes, and once the cat's up and on its feet, a lot of times it'll circle kind of like a rabbit, and then sometimes they'll tree, or sometimes they'll stay on the ground, and dogs will bang them up. You just never know, just like a bear hunt,
Is snow critical then? Do you need snow to find these tracks?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely helps you. It's without snow, guys do it, but it's tough. But yeah, a little bit of fresh snow definitely helps you.
Do you have snow now?
No, we don't have anything. We haven't had anything but maybe an inch or two early in December, and we haven't had anything since then. So
you're what, central UP?
Yeah, about central UP, yep.
So you're on hold now until Mother Nature cooperates?
Yeah, yep. I've been watching the radar here, and I'm going to travel wherever, if there is any snow anywhere around here, I'm going to travel there this weekend. But yeah, we're just kind of sitting around and waiting.
You got to be getting antsy. Do the dogs get antsy? Do they think, hey, this time of year, it's wintertime, we should be out doing something?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're definitely getting, they've been sitting since the end of October, since bear season, and, a couple of weeks after that, they rest up, and, now they're ready to go. I let mine run around about every day and do a lot of roading with them and kind of keep a little bit of energy run off them, but it's tough if they aren't out hunting.
Do you run coyotes at all, Jordan?
No, not anymore. I used to, and when I was a kid, or, when I was younger, growing up, we used to, but just kind of got away from it when we really got into bobcat hunting.
Is it two distinctly different types of hunting? I mean, one's a dog and one's a cat, so I would think it's got to be completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's completely different. They definitely run different. I mean, a cat, I would say, doesn't run quite as far as a coyote, usually. But, I mean, that all depends, too. I've seen cats go all day long, too, cross country. But, yeah, like I say, usually a cat will circle and, it'll get right back on its tracks and try to mess the dogs up. Coyotes are more or less, they might do a little bigger circles or, a little more straight line than a cat.
Where do you find bobcats? Do you have to go right down into the thickest, deepest cedar swamp?
Not always. But I mean, that's a good, wherever you can find food, wherever there's bunnies, wherever there's deer, which up here anymore is just, I mean, it's getting slim to none. But wherever you got a little bit of food, for those cats, that's where you want to be looking, thick cedar swamps or deer yards,
Jordan, are you a Youper from birth? Did you grow up in the UP?
No. I actually grew up in northern Lower, and then been hunting up here my whole life, and then moved up right after high school. Okay,
so all right, so you've got a long history with the UP. You've mentioned this a couple times. I feel the need to follow up on this. How have things changed? It's a different hunting situation than it was when you were a kid visiting up there?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, one day and night difference. I mean, when I was a kid, like in high school, before we moved up here, me and my brother moved up here together, and I mean, it was great. It was great hunting. There was deer. There was, bobcat and bear. I mean, there still is, but it's just, you throw that factor of the wolves in there. When you're a hound hunter, or even when you're any kind of hunter, I don't care what kind of hunter you are, you throw the factor of these wolves in there, and if they're not decimating your deer population, they're making it near impossible for you to be able to run bear or bobcat or coyote, because they're in every section, that you want to run in. Wherever there's a deer yard, that's where you're going to find your coyotes and your cats. Well, that's where your wolves are too, so it's just, I mean, it's near impossible anymore to get away from them. I mean, you can't. I mean, there is no getting away from them. It's been night and day difference since I moved up here and since I was a kid. I mean, it's really sad. It's super sad to see.
I think it's hard for us downstaters to really relate to this.
Yep.
Because we don't deal with it like you guys do.
Yep. Yeah, I would. I've often thought about moving back south, but I just can't give up the woods up here. I love it, but it's a bummer for sure to see all this great. I mean, we have just the best hunting, or the best could be hunting up here. If we didn't have these wolves, and it's just sad to see it all rotting away, right in front of our faces, and it's a bummer for sure.
Jordan, hang tight. I got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. Listen, do you guys have a website or a Facebook page? Are you running guided hunts, or you guys do this just for fun?
No, we just do it for fun, just buddies, friends and family, and we don't really have just our personal Facebook pages.
Gotcha.
That's about it.
I got you. All right, fair enough. So hang tight, Jordan. As I said, I got to take a break. We're talking with Jordan Farmer, very well known houndsman in the UP. Bears, used to run coyotes, now bobcats. He's lost dogs to wolves. I don't know. It's an interesting situation. As I say, I can't relate to it because when I go out in the woods hunting, I don't worry about wolves. Not down here. I might hear coyotes, might see a coyote, big deal. Anyway, we'll talk more about hunting bobcats with hounds after the break with Jordan Farmer right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Lansing on WILS 1320 AM. You can hear us in Tawas, WIOS 1480 AM, 106.9 FM. And you can hear us in Traverse City on WTCM 580 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by the Linwood Beach Marina and Campground. Linwood Beach can be your year-round Saginaw Bay fishing destination. In fact, last I heard, the boat launches at Linwood Beach Marina were open, and I think the docks are still in. Now, that can change from day to day, week to week, obviously, with the weather conditions the way they are. But, man, if you can get on the open water of Saginaw Bay, Linwood Beach is a great place to do that. If it does freeze and you want to head out, then Linwood Beach is also a great jumping off spot for your wintertime ice fishing adventures. Linwood Beach Marina, just a great place. Great people, perfect location, beautiful facilities. The website, linwoodbeachmarina.com. That's linwoodbeachmarina.com. We're talking now, though, about running dogs in the UP, hound hunting, primarily for bobcats with Jordan Farmer, a very well-known houndsman. Jordan, you've been working with hounds, what, all your life, you and your family?
Yeah, yep, pretty much our whole lives.
And what types of dogs are we talking here? What breeds?
We run mostly blue ticks. We got a couple of plot hounds too, but mostly blue ticks.
Those are bigger, longer leg dogs?
Yeah, yep, yeah, they're 45, 50, 60 pounds.
It seems to me from the houndsmen I've talked with, once this gets in your blood, man, this is like an addiction, a good addiction, but it's almost an addiction.
Yeah, oh, it is for sure.
And what is it? Why?
I don't know. It's for me, it's just every day's different. Every hunt is different. And those dogs, they take you to places that a lot of people, your typical deer hunters or whatever, they don't see. Just because you're following the animal. I don't know. It's just there's something. And then taking a dog from a puppy and raising it and watching it progress and grow up and to be a good dog. It's just there's nothing better than it to me. Anyhow, I mean, I love it.
I feel like it's not an easy way to hunt. The actual hunt itself, because as you say, especially up there where you are, these dogs are going to take you into some pretty thick stuff. You get, you get a winter where we got snow. You're tromping through snow up to your knees in a cedar swamp, over stuff, under stuff, around stuff to get back to the dogs. A lot of work, I got to believe.
Oh, it is for sure. Yeah, cat hunting, I think, is one of the most physical hunts that I've done. Some days are easy, but you get a couple feet of snow and you're on snowshoes for 8 or 10 miles a day, and it's rough for sure. Snow falling down the back of your jacket, and soaking wet hands, cold feet. It's tough.
How do the dogs deal with that? I guess that's why you got bigger dogs, right? So you can get through that snow.
Yeah, they just they power through it. They're athletes. They're 100% athletes. They're strong. I mean, they're tough animals. A good dog that's in shape, it's amazing what they can do.
How do you keep track of them? When they're out there in that thick woods, you're worried about wolves. I'm not saying you can protect them from the wolves, but how do you keep track of them? Because these are valuable animals. You want to know where they're at.
Yep, yeah. So we run GPS collars on our dogs, and then we run telemetry collars too. So we got two different ways keep track of the dogs. Obviously, the GPS is your main unit anymore. You can see right where they are as long as you have good reception with them, and that definitely helped us, especially with the wolves nowadays. And then usually one of us, me or my brother or whoever's hunting, one of us usually follows right with the dogs right from the start, the whole way. Tries to, anyhow. Stays close as you can to them.
That's going to be a challenge on some days, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's
Sure.
I understand what the GPS collar is, but the telemetry collar, what is that?
Yeah, so telemetry collar, it's just it's a radio-based tracking collar. So the dog's got a collar on, and then you have this a box, a telemetry box, and then each collar has its own number and frequency. So you type in, say, a dog, the number is 123. So you type that number in on your box, and then you have a wand, and as you broadcast that wand through the air and point it in the direction of the dog, it'll beep, and it'll beep louder or quieter depending on how far away you are, and in the direction of that dog. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do now. Yeah, this is the same system biologists and researchers use to track like collared wolves or bears or moose or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Same exact thing.
Okay.
Yep, it's the same exact thing.
Well, you're talking some money you got wrapped up in this whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, each GPS collars, I don't even know what they are anymore. $300 or $400, maybe $500, and then telemetry collars. Those are, I don't know, $150 a piece. I mean, yeah.
So
definitely not cheap.
When you let the dogs out on a track, are they vocal? Are they barking right off the bat, or do they wait till they get on a scent, or how does that all work?
It all depends on how fresh that track is. Usually when you start, you put we call them your cold trailers, which is a dog that, has a good nose that'll, smell where that cat walked either the night before or whenever that track was made. But yeah, if that track is old, it might not bark any at all for a ways until it gets, further down that track where it can start smelling better. And as the dog smells that track better and the scent, they start barking more and more. And then, hopefully they jump it. That's when the cat's, out of its bed or, on its feet, moving in front of the dogs. And that's when they really start barking.
And the sound or the tone or the way they're barking, does that tell you something? Do they bark differently, say, when they got a cat up a tree than they do when they're chasing one?
Yeah, usually. Yeah, you can tell. I mean, you can tell by the bark, if the dog's still running or if they're treed or bayed. Yeah, you can usually tell.
Will a cat ever just say, okay, I've had enough, and they'll stand their ground and fight?
Oh, yeah, quite a bit. That happens quite often, actually. A lot more than, I'd say more than treeing them, usually. It takes steady pressure to tree a cat, I would say. And it takes a pretty good dog to consistently tree bobcats, I guess, in my opinion.
So how big are these bobcats?
Oh, they're anywhere from, your female 20 to 27 pounds, and a male is anywhere from that up to, I think the biggest one we've ever killed was 44. Probably half a dozen over 40 we've killed. And, but yeah, I mean, you get into the 30s. Those are real good cats.
And are your hunts, are they always harvest hunts, or do sometimes you come up on these cats and say, nope, we don't want this one, and let them go?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say 90% of our hunts that's what we do. We don't personally, we don't care about, killing the cat. We prefer not to. It leaves us a cat for tomorrow to run, Now, if we got somebody that first time hunter or somebody that wants to kill a cat, we'll try to find them a good tom to kill. But, yeah, I would say 90% of the time we don't kill them at all. We just run them and catch them and, pet our dogs and go on to the next one.
Do you have a sense for whether you actually run the same cat multiple times?
Yeah, you can tell sometimes when, they seems like they got their patterns, or that, they might run this, you notice that, oh, hey, yeah, I ran last week here and this cat did the same thing, you figuring could be the same cat. So.
Do you ever run into lynx?
No lynx. I have never ran into a lynx yet.
Have you ever, have the dogs ever come across what you think was a cougar, a mountain lion, anything like that?
Yeah, we've definitely found some.
What was that experience like?
Pretty neat. That just find the tracks, and then can't run them in Michigan. Can't do anything. So.
Well, you can't run them, but if your dogs get on them, how do you prevent it? How do you stop it?
Yeah, you just try to catch them, or if they, the lion trees or whatever, then you just grab them and go on with your day. But
you've seen them. You've seen them there in the UP.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Jordan, the stories I bet you could tell me off air would be pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
We'll save those for another time. All right, Jordan, listen, always a pleasure. I respect what you guys are doing. I respect the heritage, the history, this tradition you've been doing in your family for generations, and you continue on today. To me, I think that's a cool thing. You guys have a lot of challenges, but yet you're continuing on. So you have my respect.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you having me on.
Always a pleasure. Jordan Farmer, houndsman from the UP, talking about running cats. In the UP, there's bears, there's coyotes, there's bobcats, there's wolves, there's mountain lions. Pretty interesting place. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, talk about a couple other things on my mind, and then, of course, we will wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. I don't know if Dave has a cat recipe. I've never eaten cat, but I hear mountain lion. I'm being serious here. Mountain lion is supposed to be some of the best wild game you can have. I've never had the pleasure, but I hear it's pretty good. More after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show on more than 30 stations across the great state of Michigan, including WMLQ in Manistee, that's 97.7. In Muskegon, just down the road, WKBZ, 1090 AM. And if we jump to the other side of the state, you can hear us in Saginaw on News Radio 790 and 100.5 FM. I'm in the studios of WSGW right now. In here with Charlie Rood. Charlie, just an interesting guy. His fans just adore him. You can hear him on WSGW AM and FM. He's part of the morning team here every day for many years, and he's going to be here until he's an old man, or it's going to make him an old man, one or the other. Charlie, appreciate your help as always. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Reader Landscaping. Reader can take care of your lawn and property because it's your nature and our nurture. Let Reader create an outdoor getaway in your backyard. And it's not too early to start thinking about those springtime projects. Actually, there are things that you can get done in the wintertime, too. Reader can do dormant season pruning right now. And if we do get snow and you decide you don't want to shovel it, and why would you want to shovel it, Reader can take care of your snow removal as well from your residence and or your business. In fact, they take care of snow removal for our church, and they do a great job. Check them out online at readerlandscaping.com. That's readerlandscaping.com. I enjoyed that conversation with Jordan Farmer. As I say, I'm not a houndsman. Houndsmen get a lot of negative attention, press. Some of it even from fellow hunters. The complaint is that, the houndsman will come in and take over an area. The complaint is that the houndsman can't control their dogs. And I'm sure there is some grain of truth in there. But I tell you what, the houndsman that I know, I think of as very conscientious hunters. I like the fact that it's not necessarily a harvest. I feel like it's as close to catch and release hunting as you can do, especially for bears and bobcats. They tree these animals a lot, or they bay them up and they take some pictures and enjoy the experience and pull the dogs off. It used to be downstate, a lot of people hunted coyotes with dogs. I feel like that's not such a popular pastime anymore. I'm not quite sure why, because predator hunting, coyote hunting in general, continues to grow, continues to become more popular. But that's primarily people who are hunting coyotes over decoys or calling them in. And the thing that really made coyote hunting grow was a few years ago when the NRC and the DNR allowed the use of centerfire rifles after dark for predator hunting, coyote hunting. Then it really took off. You got to find something to do in the wintertime, right? And this winter might be somewhat of a challenge. If you are a hardcore ice angler, and this is what you do, and this is what you look forward to, you are really at the mercy of Mother Nature. Now, I realize all of us who enjoy the outdoors, who hunt and fish and shoot and trap, are in some ways, sometimes major ways, always at the mercy of Mother Nature. But if I look at my favorite fishing pastime, which is trolling for walleye in the summertime, yeah, I'm going to get some days that from the northeast it's going to blow and keep me off the bay. It's going to happen. You just deal with it. But I know that overall, there will be days when I can get out there. If I was an ice fisherman, and I'm not, I might be getting pretty frustrated right now. If what you do is ice fish, and that is your main thing, and that's what you look forward to, and Mother Nature doesn't get you ice, doesn't give you ice, what are you going to do? You find something else. You go steelhead fishing over on the Grand, like Jay Ball of Blue Jays Outdoors. You go out on Saginaw Bay and you troll for walleye instead of going ice fishing. You go rabbit hunting. You go squirrel hunting, you coyote hunting, whatever it is. Or you say, you know what? This winter I'm going to go south for a little bit. I like to visit Florida. I think it's fun. I think it's a nice getaway. I wouldn't want to live there. But during a normal Michigan winter, when it's cold and snowy, it seems pretty nice. Seems like a nice break. And I wouldn't be surprised if towards the end of this winter, we jump in the Chevy, the Garber Chevy with the golf clubs in the back, and keep driving south till we find more warm weather and play some golf. In fact, I got some grief last week from some of my golf buddies. They said, "Hey, Avery, when you were talking about your goals for 2024, you didn't mention you wanted to play more golf." That is a goal. I actually like golf. I think golf's a lot of fun. Frustrating because you can never master it. And maybe that's why I like golf. In some ways, it's like fishing and hunting. You can never master it. You can continue to enjoy it. You can get better at it, but you can never be the best at it. You can never master it. You can't master golf. You can't master hunting. You can't master fishing. Maybe that's why those three tend to work out for me so well, or at least not so well. Maybe that's why I enjoy them so much. No, it doesn't work out well. We'll take a break here at the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. I honestly don't know where the last 3 hours have gone. But it's been fun, and I'm glad you were able to share at least part of this week's adventure right here on Outdoor Magazine. Welcome back to Outdoor Magazine, the first Outdoor Magazine radio show of 2024. So glad to have you along with us. I love doing this show. I really enjoy it. I enjoy talking with the people that I get a chance to talk with here on the show. I enjoy talking with our regular guests, and there is nobody that we talk with more than wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar, good friend of mine, guy I've worked with for so many years on the television show, now the radio show, and he wraps up each week's show for us, and I cannot thank him enough. David, welcome back. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. Good.
Oh, I think we're going to have a weird signal today. Can you hear me, David?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. How you doing?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm doing real good. I'm real excited about kicking off a new year, and I'm real excited about hearing what the first recipe of this new year is from you, wild game chef extraordinaire, Dixie Dave Minar.
I got a tropical walleye.
And where'd you pull that one out of?
Well, we did this for the show probably about 20 years ago or more.
I don't even remember this one. Let's hear it.
Okay, so it's for 4 portions, and you need about 8 to 10 ounces of boneless, skinless fish per person, a small can of sliced watered chestnuts. There's an awful lot of ingredients to go into this. So, and you need a small can of pineapple chunks, about, one of them little small cans of diced peaches. You need a couple, 3 or 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, a small can of mandarin oranges, and let's see, about a 1/4 cup of golden raisins. You can use regular raisins if you want, but the golden they show up real nice. A couple tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, a nice splash of Myers rum, and a nice splash of tropical schnapps. 1/4 cup of shredded coconut, and if you like macadamia nuts, add them to it. It's kind of an option. So what you want to do is strain all of the fruits except for the water chestnuts and save that. You're going to need to heat about 3 cups of this up. Bring it to a boiling, add the liquor, and it should not flambe because it's not that strong of alcohol. Cook for a couple of minutes, then thicken with melted cornstarch. And then lay your fish down and then arrange all of this different fruits over the top of each fish and put coconut on top. And what you're going to do is bake this at 350 degrees for approximately, no more than about 10 minutes. But you can check with a fork and see if the fish is done and flaky. And if not, then add it back to the oven for another minute or 3 just to kind of make sure it's done. But don't forget, it's going to continue cooking a little bit after you take it off of the heat. And we got great response on this. We used to do this at the restaurant after we did the TV show, and boy, people just ordered it like crazy and loved it.
Well, when you said chestnuts, I'm not sure I've ever heard you use chestnuts in a recipe before.
No, it's kind of, more oriental variety of like a stir fry. You'd put water chestnuts in it sliced. But it works out real good. It's nice and crunchy, and it gives a good flavor to this dish.
Speaking of stir fry, there is a recipe I remember you doing, and it was either stir fried, was it squirrel that you did? There's stir fried something that was just outstanding. And we did that on the TV show too. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I think it was either venison or rabbit. We did pheasant also. We did a pheasant stir fry years ago.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Oh,
but we used to sell that at the restaurant like crazy too.
Well, a stir fry has such a great taste. I feel like they're kind of easy to make, but you got to be willing to make your house smell like cooking, right? Because a stir fry is going to fill your whole house with that smell.
Right. Because you got to have a wok, and you got to get really hot, and you got to keep it hot. So that's going to put a lot of odor into the air. But it's going to smell good.
Going to smell good. All right, Dave. Hey, listen, the deer season's over. I never did shoot an animal. Did you?
No, I got enough tags left for soup.
I need a good tag soup recipe. Maybe that's one we should come up with next week.
Okay, just teasing.
So am I. All right, buddy. Always a pleasure. Have a good week, and Happy New Year to you and Terry.
And your family too, Michael, and your radio family.
I appreciate that. Wild game chef extraordinaire, Dixie Dave Minar. Just an all-around good guy. Just a really, really nice guy. I always say Dixie Dave is one of the good guys. Hey, I appreciate you joining this week. Listen, your time is valuable. You got a lot going on, a lot of different things you could be doing, a lot of different things you could be watching or listening to right now. And the fact that you're hearing my voice, whether it's the broadcast version of the show or the podcast version of the show, it does certainly mean a lot to me. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Please check that out. My email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I would absolutely love to hear from you. I also do a lot of social media stuff. It's Mike Avery Outdoors on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I do some live streaming as well. Every Wednesday morning at 8:45, we do a Behind the Mic segment here from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. And every Wednesday night at 7, Wednesday Night Live. What an original creative title that is. I know. I'll own it. I'll own up to it. I did it. Wednesday Night Live. Again, Mike Avery. Website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. The email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. And I look forward to talking with you next time right here on Outdoor Magazine.